I was working 3 jobs in California. One was Dutch Bros, working at the airport and working on like forklifts on the side. And I was like, man, this is ridiculous. And I was about to close on a fourplex in Sacramento. It was like $670,000 and I was cash flowing. And I sent it to my mentor at the time. And he's like, dude, you need to come to Indianapolis, check out the market. Went out there for the weekend. I found the same exact fourplex in Indianapolis for $230,000 and I would be cash flowing more. I don't have any money. I had like $30,000 because I sold my car, but then I was stuck after like 6 months. I was like, I don't have any funds. Like I can't do anything. And then that's when I met you guys. At first I was like, man, this doesn't sound like legit. Why would a bank lend me money? I'm like nobody. I think my first card, I got $25,000. I was like, $25,000 back then was like huge. Within my first 3 months with credit stacking, I had almost $100,000. Right when I got that, I was like, wow, this is ridiculous. I got like 3 or 4 flips right off the bat within my first year and a half of being here. I got that 90, and then that 90 turned into like 200 of my own money, paid off those cards, went back for another round of stacking. With the capital I got, like being in the group, I think I did like 10 flips between that time. Speed was everything. That's how I was able to scale it so fast, because I had actually had access to the capital with the credit cards with you guys. It's truly life-changing. If I wasn't a part of this group when we first started and had everybody cheering their wins, just everything, I promise you, with everything, I would not be where I'm at if I didn't have credit stacking.
What's going on? I am joined today with Devin, who is a credit stacking member for the last 2 or 3 years. Devin has crushed it in the fix and flip space and really just has an inspiring story. I appreciate you hopping on here today, Devin. Would love to learn about your story in terms of when you started in real estate with fix and flips and where you are today. I know you have several deals that are in motion right now and you're able to flip several properties on a yearly basis, but that wasn't the case when you got started. So can you just talk to me and the listeners a little bit about where you got started in real estate and talk about the challenges you had when you started in terms of access to capital, and then really tell the story about how you got access to capital and how that changed your trajectory in fixed flips.
Yeah, of course, man. So I'm originally from Cali. I'm out here in Indianapolis now. I've been out here for maybe 4.5 years. I was working 3 jobs in California. One was Dutch Bros, working at the airport and working on like forklifts on the side. And I was like, man, this is ridiculous. I was working for a real estate office on like part-time being a cold caller. And I was about to close on a fourplex in Sacramento. It was like $670,000 and I was cash flowing. And I sent it to my mentor at the time. And he's like, dude, if you close this deal, I'm never working with you again. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm making great money. He's like, you need to come to Indianapolis, check out the market. Went out there for the weekend. I found the same exact fourplex in Indianapolis for $230,000 and I would be cash flowing more. So I was like, whoa, dude. So I sold all my stuff in California, came out to Indianapolis, didn't know anybody. My mentor still lived in California. Came out here and I was like, what do I do? Like, I don't have any money. I had like $30,000 because I sold my car, but like I didn't have anything, man. So I was just like, all right, I need to submerge myself into this field. So I started working for somebody in the property management game. But like I said, I didn't have much to my name. So I bought my first duplex within like a week or 2 of moving to Indianapolis with that $30K. It was like $39,000. So I borrowed $9,000 from somebody. So I was negative $9,000 basically when I came to Indy. Within 2 months, I got 2 personal credit cards, I think $17,000 altogether. And I think I used like 12 or 13 of that. And then I started the renovations with those funds. So I got my second property within 2 months of being here. But then I was stuck after like 6 months. I was like, I don't have any funds. Like I can't do anything. And then that's when I met you guys. And I was like, at first I was like, man, this doesn't sound like legit. Why would a bank lend me money? I'm like nobody. Like I can't do this. And then I started like listening in the group and looking at all these people win. And I'm like, wow, okay, like I really need to dive deep into this. And that's when I started like going to events and like really zoning into the group. And I think my first card, I got $25,000. I was like, $25,000 back then was like huge. So I bought basically my third house with that. And within 2 months, I flipped that one. And I think I made a profit of like $63,000. And then I took that $63,000, paid off my personal cards. So I back at like a 0 utilization, and then I boosted my credit score to like a 700. got a couple authorized users, didn't even know what an authorized user was before joining the group, and it jumped my score up to like a high 700. And then I started going for business credit. Within my first 3 months with credit stacking, I had almost $100,000. Right when I got that, I was like, wow, this is ridiculous. So I got like 3 or 4 flips right off the bat within my first year and a half of being here. I got that 90, and then that 90 turned into like 200 of my own money, paid off those cards, went back for another round of stacking. And then I would say probably within 6-8 months, I had a total of like 250,000 from you guys, your group. You're helping me, all the mentors around, everybody getting wins, just stacking. Started putting that money into wholesale real estate of like building my network out, getting Airbnbs. And then I was like, man, Airbnb stuff is cool, but I enjoy flipping a lot. So I was like, I need more than 250,000. So I put my head down. I almost got $400,000 within, I think, 9-10 months with you guys. I had like 350,000, and then within like a year and a half, like almost 400,000. So
wow. So a year, sorry to cut you off. So a year and a half, you got approved for 400,000, which was 0% for between 9 and 18 months. Is that correct?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was this is life-changing, man. I just could not believe it. Within my first like 9 months, I had, I think it was $300,000 to $350,000 with you guys. 9 months in the real estate world flies by super quick. You know, that's like sometimes that's a one deal for somebody, but with the capital I got, like being in the group, I think I did like 10 flips between that time because I had access to that capital. At my age, I didn't have a name for myself. Nobody wanted to lend to me because they're like, why would I lend to you? You've never done anything with real estate. So essentially, I had to use this money to build my portfolio, or I guess like my resume. So this was huge. Now I have people, I'll say, hey, I need $100,000. They're like, oh yeah, you're good for it. Like you've done, you know, all these flips we see you on social media, like rocking these flips out. Like 3-4 years ago, if I asked somebody for $5,000-$10,000, they would be like, like, can you even pay this back? Like, what are you even doing these days, you know?
So if I'm interpreting this correctly, it sounded like, you're working on your first flip. You got access to your first, I think it was a $25,000 card. You use that for your first flip. In the first year, you got approved for $400,000, 0% for 9 to 18 months. And because you had access to that money, it allowed you to do more flips, which then ultimately helped build your resume, build your credibility, etc., build your history. And then at that point, you then could get additional funding. Can you speak on how that catapulted you to the next level? And then now at this next level, how has that changed everything?
Yeah, man, it's truly life-changing. Like I said, it was like, I think right under 400,000. I didn't add it up quite, but I know it's 350 to 400,000. But now, like before, I couldn't get anybody to lend me really much money, $5,000-$10,000, cool, you know, but now I'm talking to high net worth individuals. I got that money and I built my resume. Now I don't even have to go to the banks. I have access to that $400,000, but you know, essentially I don't need it. It's like a backup plan if I really need, you know, and then I'll just reach out to like one of my lenders I've used on some of my flips. Like, hey, I need 100,000. Could you wire it tomorrow? They're like, oh yeah, like you're good for it. We've done a couple dozen flips at this point. So, you know, I always have access to those funds. The 0% has ran out, but I'm sure I haven't tried to get funding for the past maybe year and a half, because that 400,000, you could do a lot of real estate with. It's just opened so many doors for me, and I'm very grateful for this group, man. Like, I would not be here. I promise you, I would not be here if I wasn't a part of this group when we first started and had everybody cheering their wins, the group, just everything. I promise you, with everything, I would not be where I'm at if I didn't have credit stacking.
Wow, that's incredible, Devin. I really appreciate you sharing that. And I think that all the listeners are probably pretty inspired. I'm certainly inspired. So let me ask you this. So you get access to the money. Can you speak to me and the listeners on how exactly you were using that money? Was it all for down payments? Can you talk a little bit more specifically on how it was deployed?
Every time I got a card right at the beginning, I would liquidate it. That way I can build up my bank statements to show lenders like I actually had funds to do these properties. And a lot of those funds I would use for the EMD, like the earnest money to secure like 4 or 5 different properties at once. And then I would use probably like 75% of them to close the deals. And then the hard money lenders help me close the rest of the transactions. So you only need to come up with, you know, maybe 10% of what the purchase price is for the property, and a hard money lender will lend on the rest of the property. So, if I had $100,000 and 10 different properties, I only need to put $10,000 down. I have 10 properties, that I can get into. So a lot of the times I was using it for the down payments, and the hard money lenders would come in clutch with all the rest. And sometimes, like on those bigger projects, I would get, I think 95% of it funded from a hard money lender. So I'd have to come out with 5. And then I would use the funds on the credit cards, liquidate them, or even use them at Home Depot to speed up the projects. Like, speed is everything in real estate. So I could have done it with, maybe $50,000, got a couple properties, but, maybe instead of 2 or 3 months it would take to do the flips, it might take 4 to 6 months to finish that property because I didn't have the access to the credit I had. So speed was everything. That's how I was able to scale so fast, because I had actually had access to the capital with the credit cards and, the blocks, the business line of credits, or whatever they might have been to advance to where I am now.
Cool. I love that. And I know you mentioned one example specifically. I think it was your first flip that you used on a credit card. You used $25,000 from that credit card, and then it turned into a $63,000 profit. Can you give us one more example of a different flip where you maybe used X amount of credit from a card, you had the hard money lender fund the rest of it, and then what type of profit did that turn into? If you could just give one more example.
Oh, one of my first ones was a duplex. Man, that was a great deal. I actually had to come to the table with 10% of the purchase price and 10% of the renovations because I was still fairly new. I only had maybe like 4 deals under my belt at the time. So I came to closing with, I think it was $40 or $50,000. And I know that deal took like 4 months to do. And that deal profited me. It was like $140,000. And it only took like 5 months from acquisition to disposition, from like purchase to sell from the time I got the deal. So like over $100,000 on a flip. It's like ridiculous. That was in my first year, probably a year and a half actually, of doing real estate. So that was life-changing in itself.
That's insane. So you used, we'll call it 50 grand from a business credit card. You put that in the deal, and then it sounded like 140,000. Then did you pay off the 50,000? So you netted at the end of the day 90,000, or did you net the 140?
I net 140. I paid off, I think 50% of each card. And then I credit stacked again. I got more funding after paying, 50% of each card off, because I needed some of those funds to close 3 deals. I remember I locked up 3 deals. I only really wanted 1, but I locked up 3 just to see if any of them accepted, and all 3 accepted. And I was like, well, crap, like, okay, I need these funds. Let's not pay off the cards fully. But now I have 3 deals in contract. Like, can I even do 3 at a time? So I paid only 50% off. I don't remember what I made on those off the top of my head, but yeah, that's when I really started skyrocketing, because I paid 50% of those off. And then I think I got a $90K approval through SoFi, which was like, how is this possible? So I took that 90, and then I used that 90 to close all 3 of those deals. And then I ended up paying, after closing, the cards off again.
Wow. That is just incredible. So it sounds like you built strong credit. You leverage your strong credit to get access to 0% credit from the banks. They want to give it to you, and you took advantage of that, and then you put that money into your deals. And so it sounded like you've moved very fast. And so how long have you been flipping houses since that first flip? And then now we're here in the end of 2025. Once these pending projects finish, how many flips will that be?
I've been in Indy almost 4.5 years. No, 2020, it was COVID. Damn, it's 5 years. Wow. I've been here 5 years. I got my first 2 flips within 2 months of being in Indy. As of February of this year, 2025, I stopped counting, but I had 60 as in February of 2025. I've probably done maybe 24 in 2025 alone. So 80 flips close to maybe.
Wow, incredible. So a couple dozen flips in 2025 alone. And if you don't mind sharing, like, what type of profits are you making on average per flip?
Really, really depends, man. When I first started, I would try to get any profits, 10, 15, 20K was a lot back then. Now I don't touch anything unless I'm making minimum. I want minimum of 50K myself. Now, if I bring in a partner, those partners usually bring like 70, 80K to me. I'm offering, 70, 30 profit splits. So I'm trying to get as close to 100K in profits after all expenses, realtor costs, everything. So usually those are taking, 6 months or less almost every single time. Average disposition is 4 or 5 months roughly, even in the market today.
Incredible. So what kind of advice would you give to someone? Maybe they're looking to get into fix and flips, or maybe someone that has done 1, 2, or 3 deals that's looking to scale to the level that you're at. What kind of advice would you give them?
Okay, one of the biggest things when I first started was like, I was everywhere. I kept hearing you need X amount of things, like X amount of businesses to become a millionaire. So I was just like, let me do ATMs, vending machines, Airbnb, wholesale, fix and flip, long-term rentals. And then after about a year of doing that, I was like, man, I just can't do all of this. So I got rid of my ATMs. I got rid of my vending machines, and I was like, wow, I have a lot more free time. I got rid of all my long-term rentals, and I was like, wow, I really enjoy fix and flipping. So the biggest thing is lock in with something and run with it. Don't try to do 10 different things at one time. Like I've invested in e-com stores and stuff like that. Just focus on one thing and go with it. Don't be a rabbit and just go everywhere. Look at everything. So lock in. If you really want to do real estate, lock in 100% with it. Even if it's hard. It was very hard for me at the beginning, but then it just soared from there. So just really lock in and trust the process and just listen to everybody that in credit stacking, their wins, and just take data points from them and go from there.
Awesome. Really appreciate that. And so for someone that's looking to scale their fix and flip business to get to your level, how much would you recommend someone to join credit stacking and take advantage of all the resources and strategies that we teach?
Like I said earlier in the video, I would 100% not be where I'm at unless I had credit stacking. I would probably still be doing real estate, but not at the level I am. I couldn't recommend it enough. It was really truly life-changing. And the long-term relationships I've built from the group is just immaculate. I've gone to Guatemala, I've gone to Costa Rica, all around the States, Miami, Florida, Reno, all the time with just people from the group. You just build a relationship. It feels like a family. It's everybody that has goals, and everybody wants to help everybody get to those goals. And even though you're getting what you want, there's more to the group than just getting credit cards, because a lot of the cards I got approved for, I don't use to this day. It's those relationships I built in the group, and that's everything. I could call up a buddy and be like, hey, I'm going here. Oh, I'll be there with you, bro. Let's go do it. And you're like, hey, I just got this deal. Do you want to invest with me? Hell yeah, bro. I just got 100K just sitting on a card. Do you want to go halfsies with me? So I couldn't recommend it more than. There's nothing I could recommend more.
Wow. I really appreciate you sharing that, Devin. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I think this is going to inspire a lot of people. It's certainly inspired me. So thank you so much for the time, man. And thanks for being such an amazing credit stacking member. Your success is truly inspiring.
Of course, brother. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.